Good morning children. I hope class 9th children are watching this video and I hope you must be keeping well. As we were doing mensuration and few exercise already we had done, but very near you have exam, and that's why few topics we will complete from all the main topic. Few questions we will solve from all the main topics so that in exam you can appear. So today we have taken very basic things from statistics. So up to where in mensuration you have done, till that you do practice, and just after exam we will be having time. By that time we will complete those things, uncompleted things. In statistics, just you see, this is also not very new, already you have done before in class 6, 7 and 8. So here in basic of statistics we will see exercise 14.1 we will see, and all the examples we will see, so that we will be able to do ourselves exercise 14.2. So let's see. In introduction what has been given, just you see, every day we come across a lot of information in the form of facts, numerical figures, tables, graphs, etc. So you need to understand this numerical figures means, suppose if any data you have got, any data you have got and you are writing a numerical figure. For example, just you see, suppose if you want to find out the heights of all the children from your class. So this heights will be in centimeter or inch. So suppose this is in centimeter, suppose 160 centimeter, 162 centimeter and so on. So these will be called numerical figures. So every day we come across a lot of information in the form of facts, numerical figures, tables, graphs, etc. These are provided by newspapers, television, magazines and other means of communication. These may relate to cricket batting or bowling averages, profits of company, temperatures of cities, expenditures in various sectors of a 5-year plan, polling results and so on. So many examples have been given. In these you get information in the form of facts, numerical figures, tables, graphs and so on. These facts or figures, which are numerical or otherwise collected with a definite purpose, are called data. So these numerical figures are called data. Data is the plural form of Latin word datum. Of course, the word data is not new for you. You have studied about data and data handling in earlier classes already. You have done, as I told you. So just you need to recall those things and you need to revise, so that easily you will be able to understand. So these basic things already you know and you understood. Then we have in next paragraph, you see, our world is becoming more and more information oriented. Every part of our lives utilizes data in form or the other. So it becomes essential for us to know how to extract meaningful information from such data. The extraction of meaningful information is studied in branch of mathematics called statistics. So just you see, if suppose if you are getting information, and if extraction of meaningful information means whatever data you have got, and after analyzing, if you are coming into interpretation, if you are interpreting or you are extracting some data from that information, so in which we study these things, that branch of math is called statistics. The word statistics appear to have been derived from the Latin word status, meaning a political state. In its origin, statistics was simply the collection of data on different aspects of life of people useful to the state. Over the period of time, however, its scope broadened and statistics began to concern itself not only with the collection and presentation of data, but also with the interpretation and drawing of inferences from the data. Statistics deals with collection, organization, analysis and interpretation of data. the word statistics has different meaning in different contexts. So here you need to understand, see, the origin of this word is Latin, that is status, and meaning is different. Meaning is political state, a political state, or you can say that status means state, but after its origin, after its starting the word, later it has been converted and now the meaning has been broadened, and statistics began to concern itself not only with the collection and representation of data, but also the interpretation. Interpretation means after analyzing the data, what result you are getting or interpreting, that is called interpretation. So these things are now included. So in here it has been written that the word statistics has different meaning in different context. So suppose as example has been given, may I have the latest copy of educational statistics of data. Second example is there. I like to study statistics because it is used in day-to-day life. So in this first sentence, statistics is used in a plural sense, meaning numerical data. Suppose, may I have the latest copy of educational statistics of data. So these may include a number of educational institutions of India, literacy rate of various states, etc. In the second sentence, the word statistics is used as a singular noun, meaning the subject which deals with the collection, presentation, analysis of data, as well as drawing of meaningful conclusions from the data. In this chapter, we shall briefly discuss all these aspects regarding data. So first you see collection of data. Let us begin with an exercise on gathering data by performing the following activity. First activity has been given, just you go through. Divide the students of your class into 4 groups. Allot each group the work of collecting one of the following kinds of data: heights of 20 students of your class, number of percentage in each day in your class for a month, number of members in the families of your classmates, heights of 15 plants in or around your school. Let us move the results students have gathered. How did they collect the data in each group? Did they collect the information from each and every student, house or person concerned for obtaining the information? Did they get the information from some source like available school records? So these here you need to understand two things, and those are important. First is primary data and second is secondary data. This is important. So in the first case, when the information was collected by the investigator herself or himself with a definite objective in her or his mind, the data obtained is called primary data, or this is also called raw data. Suppose it has been told to find out the height of the students in your class. So individually, if you are going to each and every student finding data, then that data will be called primary data. In the second case, just you see, when the information was gathered from a source which already had in the information stored, the data obtained is called secondary data. Suppose task has been given to you to find out the height of the student from your class. So you went individually and you have taken that information, or you have collected data by yourself, then that will be called primary data. But suppose if you are asking to someone in this school, suppose in principal office or in teacher's record, if height has been given, they have already taken before. So that data if you are collecting from them, then that will be called secondary data. So if any source is being used to collect data, then in that case that data will be called secondary data. So two things are there, primary data and secondary data, that you need to remember, and this is important. So easy it is, but this is important for the exam, it comes. Then you have your exercise 14.1. so easy it is, you need to do by yourself. First is give 5 examples of data that you can collect from your day-to-day life, and second, you classify the data in question 1 above as primary or secondary data. So I hope you will be able to do that. You need to do. Next, we will see presentation of data. As soon as the work related to collection of data is over, the investigator means you are investigating. Suppose task has been given to find out the height of the students and you are doing the work, then you will be called investigator. So investigator has to find out ways to present them in a form which is meaningful, easily understood, and gives its main features at a glance. Let us now recall the various ways of presenting the data through some example. First example has been given, you see. Consider the marks obtained by 10 students in mathematics test as given below: 55, 36, 95, 73, 60, 42, 25, 78, 75 and 62. The data in this form is called raw data. By looking at it in the form, can you find the highest and the lowest marks? Did it take you some time to search up the maximum and minimum scores? Wouldn't it be less time consuming if these scores were arranged in ascending or descending order? Just you see, here also we can find out minimum or maximum marks, but if it will be arranged in ascending or descending order, it will be easier to find out. Now we can clearly see that the lowest marks are 25 and the highest is 95. The difference of the highest and lowest value in the data is called the range of data. This you remember, this range of data. So the difference of maximum and minimum value, that will be called range of the data. So in this case 95 minus 25 will be range, and that will be 70, and that you need to remember. Second example you can see, consider the marks obtained out of 100 marks by 30 students. 30 students have got marks in this way. Recall the number of students who have obtained a certain number of marks is called the frequency of those marks. So frequency means what? So these all the terms already you have studied before, so I don't think much problem you should have. Frequency is what? Any observation. Observation means, suppose here you see, these all will be called observation. So any observation is occurring in this information how many times. Number of occurrence of observation will be called its frequency. You can say number of occurrence of observation. Number of occurrence of observation will be called its frequency. Here you can see, suppose 10, you need to see how many times it is there. 1, then you have only one time, it is 10 is only one time. So 10 will be the one will be frequency of 10. This observation 10 is having frequency 1. In the same way, for instance, 4 students got 70 marks. 70, you see how many times it is there. This is 1, 2, 3, and how many times we have? 1, 2, and this is 3, and this is 4. So frequency of 70 is equal to 4. So this is called frequency. Then you see, if in table it will be shown, how it will be shown. So marks obtained, just you see, has been written, or observation you can say, and number of students or the frequency. 10 is one time, 20 is one time, and other numbers are there in that way. So that in that way, in tabular form, that can be shown. 14.1, what we have got, this is called an ungrouped frequency distribution table, or simply a frequency distribution table, that you need to remember, ungrouped. Next example we have 100 plants, each were planted in 100 schools during one Mahotsav. After 1 month, the number of plants that survived was recorded as, here you see, this data we have been given. Now to present such a large amount of data so that a reader can make sense of it easily, we condense it into groups like 20 to 29, 30 to 39 and so on. And these grouping are called classes, that you need to remember. These groupings what is required to be made. So these grouping will be called classes or class intervals, and their size is called the class size or class width. So which is 10 in this case. Just you see 20 to 29. If you are including both lower limit and upper limit 20 and 29, class interval will be 10. In each of these classes the least number is called the lower class limit and the greatest number is called the upper class limit. Example 20 to 29, 20 is the lower class limit and 29 is the upper class limit. So these things are very important. I hope you understood. Classes means if you are grouping the numbers, that grouping will be called classes or class intervals. Class size will be what? Class size is their size. It means suppose 20 to 29. So difference between 20 to 29 is 10. So class size is 10. And this least number will be called lower class limit and this greatest number is called the upper class limit. Now just you see we have table 14.2. Number of plants, just you see 20 to 29, just you count how many are there. 20 to 29, that frequency is 3. Tally marks, if you recall, if you remember from previous classes, you can see 3 has been mentioned as or shown as 1, 2, 3. In this way, if 5 is there, that cross marks is required in this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5 it became, again 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, again 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. In this way this is represented, this is called tally marks. So here class intervals has been made 20 to 29, then 30 to 39, 40 to 49 and so on up to 90 to 99, and frequency has been written. You see a total number of this frequency, if you will add this up, this will be total number of the observation, so that is 100. Presenting data in this form simplifies and condenses data and enables us to observe certain important features at a glance. This is called a grouped frequency distribution table. Here we can easily observe that 50% or more plants survived in 8 plus 18 plus 10 plus 23 plus 12 is equal to 71 schools. We observe that the classes in the table above are non-overlapping. Not overlapping means suppose already if you have written 20 to 29, again 29 to 39 we will not write, we will write 30 to 39, so that the numbers must not overlap. Then example 4 we have. Let us now consider the following frequency distribution table which gives the weights of 38 students of a class. Just you see weights has been given 31 to 35, number of student 9, 36 to 40 that is 5, 41 to 45 14 and so on, 7 up to 71 to 75 1, 38 students are there. Now if two new students of weights 35.5 kg and 40.5 kg are admitted in this class, then in which interval will we include them? We cannot add them in the ones ending with 35 or 40 nor to the following ones. This because there are gaps in between upper and lower limits of two consecutive classes. So we need to divide the intervals so that upper and lower limits of consecutive intervals are the same. For this we find the difference between the upper limit of a class and lower limit of its succeeding class. We then add half of this difference to each of the upper limits and subtract the same from each of the lower limit. Just you see how it is to be done. Suppose you have considered the classes 31 to 35 and 36 to 40. The lower limit of 36 to 40 is 36 and the upper limit of 31 and 35 is 35. The difference is what? Difference is 1. So half of the difference, that is 0.5. So what is required to be done? This 0.5 is required to be subtracted from 31, means in lower limit, and should be added to upper limit 35. This will become 35.5. So this will become 30.5 and 35.5. In this way this is required to be done. So what we did, the difference we found out, and then half of that we have taken, and in lower limit that has been subtracted, in upper limit that has been added. So similarly for the other classes also the same thing is required to be done, and finally you will get in this way 30.5 to 30.5 or 35.5, then 35.5 to 40 and so on. So here you see now it became how this table has been converted. Here you see 30.5 to 35.5, that became, and that frequency is same 9, 35.5 to 40.5, that is 6, and so on. Now you see what difference is there. Here total number of students are 38 and here you have 48, means 2 children have been added on this. Then we have exercise 14.2. so just you start few questions, few important questions are there that you try to do. These questions I hope you will be able to do, just you try, otherwise we will see in next class, and till then thank you.